I come to you with good news. The weekend from hell is over, and it's a brand new week, and things can't quite possibly get worse, couldn't they? We'll try to figure that out over the next few hours, but welcome into another brand new edition of Evan and Tiki. We're here for the next 4.5 hours. We will discuss how the New York Jets are causing their fans to hate football. We will discuss the incredible tease the Giants put together on Sunday afternoon. But we stand here today with the Yankees on the brink of elimination after losing 2 straight to the Blue Jays, in which somehow they gave up a combined 23 runs. And as unfair as life is, I think the reality is this. And again, the Yankees have given up 23 runs. This series is being defined by Aaron Judge. And it doesn't feel fair. It doesn't seem fair. But I really think that's the case because even though Aaron Judge in this postseason is 8 for 18, which is a .444 batting average, I think that his strikeout on ball 4 in the 6th inning of Game 1, and this isn't always fair what I'm saying, is the definition and the image of this series.
Yeah.
And even though they're pitching at a horrible level, Teak, I really think the Judge critiques are coming strong and rightfully so.
Look, they are, but I think yesterday's blowout loss is going to shift in some people's minds the issues. Obviously, the Yankees need to score runs, but if Judge was hitting 500 and had 3 home runs, and they were all solo home runs or whatever, 2-run home runs, they're still not winning these games because the pitching hasn't been good at all. Now, yesterday was more of batting practice once Will Warren started, coming in and giving up. How many home runs did he give up?
He gave up 4 home runs.
4 home runs.
Yeah.
But, so in a sense, you're right because Aaron Judge hasn't stamped himself into this series yet. Obviously, his batting average in the postseason it's okay.
That's .444. It's awesome.
I know, but it doesn't
okay.
It doesn't feel impactful.
No, it's not.
It feels .444 for .444's sake.
Yeah, this is the first time, and I've watched Aaron Judge like we all have since his rookie season and since his first foray into the postseason in 2017, and I've never felt what I'm about to say. This is the first time I've come to this conclusion about Judge. It really does feel like the moment is getting too big for him. And I never thought that. I always thought, like I always said about Barry Bonds back in the day, you know what? You give a great player enough time, they're going to show you they're great. And here's why I feel that way about Judge. Like you mentioned, he's 8 for 18. He's hitting. But it feels like the biggest of moments, which he has found a few times, that's when he's coming up small. Even the defensive miscue that he made that could have been a big deal that turned out not to be a big deal because Ernie Clement cleared the fence, 2 pitches later. Like, it feels as if Aaron Judge is shrinking in the biggest of moments, and every other time he ran into struggles, I would always be on the side of, it's baseball. Sometimes you slump at the wrong time. You could be worn down from a long year. Like, I was with everyone or some on the excuse making. This is the first time watching him, even in the series against Boston, but especially what we saw in that bases loaded at bat in Game 1 and even the error in Game 2, where it feels like the moment's too big for him, and I can't believe I'm saying it, but I'm being honest and trying to describe what's going on right now.
Yeah, I don't know if I feel that. I feel like it's just a continuation of what the narrative is around him in the postseason, and that is that he doesn't hit. I don't think it's the moment because I think Aaron Judge is the type of player who takes what's given to him, and sometimes he'll chase things like the high strike that he chased yesterday and also in Game 1. Those things feel like he's desperately trying to make an impact when I don't want to say he's better off taking a walk because he's not, because nobody else is hitting either. And so I don't think it's the moment's too big for him. I think it's more the circumstances of wanting to be the man put him in positions to do things that he doesn't normally do in the regular season.
But what he does in the regular season is drive runs in. What he does in the regular season is get extra base hits. He's only had 1 extra base hit in this postseason run. And it's weird because, again, the numbers are the numbers. He's 8 for 18. But when the big moment has found him, and this Game 1 thing, like sometimes in a postseason series, you don't lose a game because of one moment or one play. Like, I think back to the last time or not the last time, but 2 times ago, where the Yankees were swept in a postseason series, which is rare.
Right.
If you look at the history of the New York Yankees, they don't get swept very often. Obviously, 2022 in the ALCS against Houston, but before that, a decade earlier, they got swept by the Detroit Tigers in the ALCS. And if I ask any Yankee fan, what do you remember about that ALCS, there's only one thing they remember, and it was Jeter getting hurt. That's it. And if you ask anyone, why the Yankees get swept in that series? Well, Jeter got hurt. And you forget game 2, and you forget game 3, and you forget game 4, and you forget even how they lost game 1, which actually was an extra innings. You forget all about that. And I have a feeling that unless the Yankees wake up tomorrow night, the only memory people are going to have about this division series is bases loaded, nobody out, and Judge is swinging at ball 4 against the guy he normally owns in Kevin Gausman. He beats Kevin Gausman. He's got great career numbers against this guy. And 3-2, a pitch that was well off the plate, he hacked at. And it feels like that image, that moment, fair or not, is going to define this series and unfortunately help define a guy who's becoming an all-time great.
Yeah, I hear you. I know what you're saying. But I also feel like that's a little haterish. That's a little...
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because...
I'm speaking for most Yankee fans.
You know what I think about from yesterday is... God, Mac Fried let us down in a massive moment.
He did.
In a humongous on the road, you got to stabilize this after game 1 loss. Max Fried, where the hell are you at? That's more of the takeaway for me. And then it just turned into destruction. The Vlad Guerrero Jr. home run might have been the most violent swing I've seen all postseason.
Yeah, it was crushed.
It was crushed. Now, I was shocked when they said 415 because the way that he swung and hit that ball, I thought it was like 470. So I feel it was more pitching in game 2. And game 2 was more, to me, devastating than game 1 because they had no shot.
Well, game 2 was the game where you had the pitching edge.
Yes.
You got your ace, and you're facing a kid in Trey Savage who had only made 4 major league starts.
Right,
and
who,
so
by the way, might be pretty good, though.
I mean, not too bad. He is a big prospect, but that's the thing. Like, we don't know what you're going to get from October baseball.
Yes.
I mean, we saw it on the other end with Cam Schlittler, who had only made 14, 15 major league starts.
Yeah, but at least he had 15 starts. This kid had 4.
No, I get you. I mean, it was...
And he had 11 strikeouts in 5 1/3 innings.
But that's why, like, if we're being fair, because I do think a lot of the Judge stuff is going to be unfair, even if it's true. The definition of these first 2 games is the Yankees have been bad at everything.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're being fair about it, like, their starting pitching hasn't been good. Their bullpen wasn't good, especially when Aaron Boone made the decision to pull Luis Gil as early as he did in game 1.
Yep.
So obviously, when you give up 23 runs in 2 games, that's bad. That's a record. That's the most runs ever given up in 2 straight postseason games to start a series. I think in 2 straight postseason games, period.
Right.
So obviously that's bad. And up until they scored the 7 runs in 2 innings in the 6th and 7th inning of game 2, when they were already down by a crazy number, 12-0 at the time, their offense has been bad.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously the Yankees have been bad at everything in these first 2 games for whatever reason. The Rogers Center is a house of horrors. So it's everything that's led to 0-2. But that image of game 1, am I being irrational, Sean? That image of game 1 is rough.
I think a couple things are true here. That's a bad image that you're right will probably get remembered. But I also think we're bordering on obnoxious now when we're blaming Aaron Judge for why the Yankees are down 2-0 because of that one moment. Last year, he did not hit, and he had this narrative. And suddenly now we're going to pretend that singles, because they aren't home runs, aren't good enough. The guy is hitting .444, and through these first 5 games of a Yankee postseason, has been the steady offensive bat. He's not going to hit 1,000. He's not going to have the OPS of this. He's entitled to make an out. In that spot in the 6th inning, Bellinger follows it up with a walk. The team gets picked up. It's 2-1 at that point. You know, Ben Rice and Giancarlo Stanton are allowed to come through with big hits as well.
Right, that's what they're there for.
We've pounded the table for Ben Rice to play, understand, young player, pops out, kills it. And Giancarlo Stanton, who everybody loves kissing the ass of because of all the big October hits he has, still stranded, the bases loaded with a strikeout as well. So I'm right. You're right. All right, ball 4, can't swing at it. But in this postseason, I mean, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't have Aaron Judge. Now you're hitting in the postseason, but every time you make an out, it gets magnified, and we're saying he's too big for the moment. I think that's nonsense.
Right, outs happen. They do. And especially, it wasn't just on him. It didn't end the inning. You know what I mean? And so
right.
I hear what you're talking about, and it's easy to say Aaron Judge should be the hero because Aaron Judge is the king. But Aaron Judge was not the reason they've lost these games. And as much as we want to blame the star, it's unfair in a team sport because nobody else is coming through either.
You're right, but I think if you go back to game 1, obviously game 2 is very, very different. But in game 1, in that situation, if he comes through with an extra base hit, if he clears the bases, that's a different game.
It is.
Like, nobody could tell me, well, they just lose the game 10-5.
But is
like,
that
that's
worse?
crap. That's not even true. I mean, it changes everything. And it did feel, watching this game, and I was watching this game with a Yankee fan, I was watching this game with my dad, who hates the Yankees. We all felt the same way after that Judge strikeout. Like, it felt as if it changed everything about where that game could have gone. And you're right. that after Cody Bellinger draws a bases-loaded walk, Ben Rice had every right to hit one up the alley, and Giancarlo Stanton had every right to not strike out against Lewis Varland, who's, let's be honest, a very average relief pitcher. But that moment did feel like the turn of that game and what could ultimately be the series.
Yes, and I get that. I'm not trying to put it down, but it's not as if Judge came in 1 for 15 in that spot scuffling. That's all I'm trying to say. He has done his part for the most part through 5 games, and as far as spraying some hits here or there. This was supposed to be a better lineup than the one that got them to a World Series a year ago as far as depth. And collectively through 5 games, they're just not getting the big hit at all, and we're putting it all on Aaron Judge's lap, and that's where I have a problem. And even despite not scoring, we're still going back to head-scratching decisions. I mean, how many more times are you going to go to Luke Weaver with the game on the line and 2-1? Like, there are a million reasons why they're down 0-2, and I just think it's terrible for a guy that actually has come through with base hit after base hit to put it all on him in that strikeout.
It's not all on him, and I don't ever want to minimize getting a base hit with 2 outs and nobody on, because that could lead to a rally, or 1 out and nobody on. But it's the moment. It's the big moment. And you know that. And here's the proof that you're a hypocrite in this whole discussion. Tomorrow night at Yankee Stadium, Game 3, backs to the wall. If the Yankees have a big shot in the 4th inning with 2 on and 2 out, Shane Bieber versus Aaron Judge, and he strikes out in a big spot despite hitting over 400 in the postseason, you're going to be the first one to get out of your seat and boo his ass.
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
But I just, look, I look at this weekend. When I wake up on a Monday morning right now as a Yankee fan and they're down 2-0, and I'm thinking about who I'm angry at.
Who are you angry at then? I mean, you can name every single guy on the roster if you want.
Max Fried.
100%.
Because you know what? Despite everything that happened Saturday at 4 o'clock in the Rogers Center, Sky Dome, whatever the hell it's called now, the reason I went to bed on Saturday night going, you know what? You lost game 1, you missed your chances, was the Yankees were supposed to have a competitive advantage of putting their ace on the mound in a game 2, knowing the team was already down 1-0, and he gave them nothing yesterday. Nothing. After we pounded the table that he should have stayed in the game in game 1, and we all screamed and yelled about it. Max Fried, as a paid ace, I don't care how bad the offense is struggling, deflated that entire team basically from the 2nd inning on yesterday. Right. And that's who I'm pissed off at today.
Aaron Boone made some decisions. You touched on one of them that annoyed Yankee fans over the weekend, going to Luke Weaver, who I think is ungoable to anymore. I
agree.
You can't pitch him anymore.
But at least we know why Paul Blackburn was on this postseason.
Yeah, to eat up innings.
Exactly.
To basically take a hit. Like, Luke Weaver came in the 8th inning of game 2, and that one was like, all right, fine. I mean, the game is basically over. It's 13-7. If you want to try to get Luke Weaver to look good, sure. And Dalton Varsho hit one 375 feet, but he got an out of it. The other decision he's getting criticized for is going to Will Warren. I'm with it and I'm against it. Here's the way I look at it, and I think I texted you guys at the time. Once Max Fried doesn't have it, and you're down 5-0, I'm not giving up on the game. That's not the right term. But I need somebody to eat a lot of innings because I can't use my entire bullpen and let the Blue Jays see my entire bullpen.
Right.
The only difference I would have had was I would have gone to Fernando Cruz to get out of the 4th inning, try to limit the damage at that point, because when Fried comes out, it's 5-0. Yeah. Like, it's not 8-0. No. It's 5-0. And unfortunately, Will Warren, who's not used to being a reliever coming in with guys on base, made things worse. He walked George Springer, and of course, he gave up the grand slam to Vlad. After that, yeah, I think Will Warren should have eaten as many innings as he could, because you want to save your bullpen. So my issue with Boone would have just been, in that mess of a 4th inning,
put a reliever in.
I go to a real reliever to just clean up the mess and try to keep it right there.
Don't undersell that. That's an enormous mismanagement. Will Warren is not a reliever, hasn't been a reliever, has had struggles on the road this year. Putting him in a non-clean inning to eat innings was a disgrace yesterday at 5-0. Disgrace. And we forget about it because he imploded anyway. He had to start an inning clean. And if he ended up imploding beyond that, that's whatever. He ruined that game yesterday by putting Will Warren in the spot with guys on.
Yeah, it went from 5-0 to 9-0.
Yeah,
like literally.
Yeah. And it made it uncomebackable.
Uncomebackable.
Which is interesting considering what happened as the game went on.
And by the way, nobody should be surprised by that.
Right.
Because when you look at the Blue Jays and you say to yourself, all right, what are they? All right, they won 94 games. They won the American League East. What are they good at? What are they not good at? It's their lineup. It's maybe the top of the rotation if it was a little bit healthier. Their bullpen stinks.
Of course.
Their bullpen is not very good.
As we saw.
As we saw, and we probably will see over the next couple of days. So even though Trey Savage looked amazing, you didn't know how long John Schneider would push him. I think he took him out early because of the fact they had a big lead. Mm-hmm. Like, if this was a 4-0 game, like the Schlittler game, I think Savage goes a little bit longer.
Because you need him to keep doing what you're savaging.
Absolutely.
Right? You need him, just like the Yankees needed Schlittler to keep Schlittling. Right?
Yeah.
He had to do it. Otherwise, they might lose that series.
You know why Schneider took him out? I actually understood it, and I was kind of with it. He was saying, boy, these guys, they've never seen this before. They've never seen the arm angle, the velocity, the splitter. They're not familiar with this guy. So why give the lineup a third time to look at him? We have a big lead, because now you're thinking about games 3, 4, 5, really game 4 and 5. Let me get him out. All right, no traject machine or whatever the hell they call that is really going to teach them how good this kid is. No tape is really going to help you. It's experience. So let me get him out. And while doing so, it gave the Yankees a look at basically every bum in the Toronto Blue Jay bullpen.
100%. Who they're going to have to lean upon because they need a bullpen game.
Possibly need a bullpen game. Yeah.
So we'll see.
Well, that's a part of why I think the Yankees still have a real shot in this series. I'll come back and explain to you why, despite the way the first 2 games went, I still think the Yankees have a real shot to win these next 2 and take this series. And we'll hear from the Yankee fan. Are you pissed at Aaron Judge? Or are you like, no, he's hitting 444. Calm the hell down. Or is that image of a strikeout in game 1 going to define him and this Yankee run? We'll get your calls coming up, 888-808-1019. Joe B will join us at 4. Giant fans will get to the tease from yesterday coming up in a few short minutes. And in the 4 o'clock hour, Yankee fans, a chance to be in the building as the Yankees are going to try to say, no, our season ain't over yet. 4 o'clock hour, chance to win tickets when you hear that very special Boone signal to call. It's all coming up live from the Town Fair Tires Studios.